What's going on, everybody? GemMint here, back with a huge omnibus haul courtesy of Organic Price Books. As you can see, they have manga, DC Absolute Editions, and Marvel Omnis. So big shout out to organicpricebooks.com. If you guys are looking to pick any of these up, hit them up and use code GemMint at checkout to save $2. I'm not going to go over thoroughly the Hellsing and the Blade of the Immortal books because I did review volumes 1 of each of those series. I ended up selling them and then I missed them. And now with the library, I have that anime section. I'm going to go ahead and put Hellsing and Blade of the Immortal back in there, and I am looking forward to continuing to read these. Both of them are more on that mature manga vibe like I like, dealing with supernatural elements and fighters. Blade of the Immortal is the only one out of the 3 Dark Horse Deluxe editions that reads from left to right, not right to left. But same type of vibe here. I think Hellsing is a little bit more out there and wacky and zany, whereas Blade of the Immortal is a little bit more subtle. It's a little bit more of a Ronin type of story. So let's go ahead and get these in the manga section real quick. Man, those things look great on the shelf. Let's start this off with a new Swamp Thing Absolute Edition. You may have seen me review all 3 of the Alan Moore Swamp Thing Absolutes, but this is the Bernie Wrightson, the Swamp Thing Origin Absolute Edition. All right, so I think it's really cool that they're continuing with the design choices that they made for the Alan Moore Swamp Thing series. They did 3 Absolutes. So this one here acts more of like an Origins omnibus, if you will, retailing $100. So just like the Alan Moore Swamp Thing Absolutes, you have this kind of like fuzzy material used for the hardcover, and it kind of is making me regret selling off those Alan Moore Absolute Editions. Maybe we'll buy them back and add them to the collection. All right, opening up, beautiful interior cover pages. So Len Wein and Bernie Wrightson. This collects Swamp Thing's first appearance in House of Secrets 92, and then goes on to collect Swamp Thing issues 1 through 13. Looks like we do have some extra material looking at the table of contents. We've got an introduction by Len Wein, a forward by Christine Vallada, another one by Liz Wrightson, and then the cover for House of Secrets 92. So like I said, very much an Origins Absolute for Swamp Thing. Although it goes with the Alan Moore books aesthetically, you would put it to the left of them on the shelf. Wow, beautiful artwork here. I've read a lot of Swamp Thing, as you can see on the channel, whether it's Alan Moore or what was it, New 52 Swamp Thing. But I've never gone into this material, and just looking at it aesthetically, it looks great. So the original Swamp Thing material, let's see what those bonuses are in the back here. All right, so it looks like it's gonna start with some interviews. Looks like reference photos, original artwork, covers and interiors. Looks cool. These Absolute Editions, man, they're really filling those pages out. Looks great. You have some sketches and pencils here. Some life-size busts. I don't know if it's life-size, but got the creators. Very nice book. All right, guys, let's jump into some Black Panther goodness. This is the Black Panther Omnibus by Christopher Priest. Back when there were no Black Panther Omnibus whatsoever, this was the run that all the collectors were championing for. We got to get that Christopher Priest Omni, and here it is. All right, so here we have the front of the dust jacket. We have that beautiful text artwork going to the spine. Black Panther by Christopher Priest, Volume 1. And then we have the back here. So, collecting Black Panther from the 1998 volume, issues 1 through 33. Also, Deadpool 44 and material from Marvel Double Shot issue 2. $100 cover price, and we can see the covers on the back. Here's a look at the inside of the dust jacket. As always, brief biography on the story, on the run, and on the creators, revealing a beautiful purple wraparound cover for the hardcover art. Let's jump into it. So we got the black cover pages, got that Black Panther pinup. Here we have the credits, and jumping into issue 1. So a lot of good omnis in this haul that are like the reason I got into the omnibus format, collecting an entire run from beginning to end. I mean, this is volume 1, so it will be completed eventually, instead of hunting them down in single issues. Now, I have never read this material. Love Mark Texeira, mostly known for Ghost Rider. And like I said, when before there were Black Panther Omnibus, everybody was championing for the Christopher Priest run. So I hear a lot of great things about it. Flipping through the artwork, it's giving me those late 90s, early 2000s vibe with more of the modern coloring. It's kind of more superhero proportions, very like balloony and big the way that they're drawn. I really like how this omnibus is built though. I like how we're getting the original covers up front. It looks like it's got page numbers from the comics, but you can always reference the table of contents with the covers. It's a Deadpool tie-in, which is probably why Deadpool 44 is included. But I have to give this material a run. It looks like a pretty smooth read. So we have some sketches. We have some articles here. Variant covers. Oh, Joe Jusko. All right, there we go. All right, guys, on to Captain Marvel, the Kelly Sue DeConnick Omnibus. I was on the fence on whether I was going to pick this one up or not, but I remember this is like nostalgia for me when I first went back into reading comics. I talked a little bit about it during the overhead. This was the stuff that was on the shelves. It's really a character-defining omnibus, so I definitely want to take a look at it. All right, so cover of the dust jacket, Carol Danvers taking on the mantle of Captain Marvel. Here we have our spine, Kelly Sue DeConnick. The back here, $125 cover price, collecting 1 through 17 from Captain Marvel, the 2012 volume. Then from the 2014 volume, issues 1 through 15, Avengers The Enemy Within, Avengers Assemble 16 through 19, Amazing Spider-Man 9 and 10, and Captain Marvel, the Carol Corps 1 through 4. I remember all of these issues coming out. This was a big deal leading up to the Captain Marvel movie. Here's the inside of the dust jacket for a quick look. No wraparound here, but we have some artwork on the front, same spine, and then we have other artwork on the back. So yeah, this was a huge deal before the movie. Ooh, big bright yellow pages. And that's what I recall from this run. I never got into this one. I didn't start reading it. This was coming out around the time where I was going back to the LCS for the first time in years and started picking up titles. But I know there was a lot of spec on this one. I want to say Miss Marvel spec as well when it came to one of the variants. But yeah, Carol Danvers had, previously been Miss Marvel. This is where she takes on the mantle of Captain Marvel. But other than that, I'm not familiar with the story here. You got that, 2010s Marvel artwork here. I think there was like an Avenging Spider-Man tie-in around this era as well. What was it, like Captain Marvel 17 or something, the variant cover that had like the first Kamala Khan as her version of Miss Marvel. Let's take a look at the bonus material. All right, so some Adi Granov, some Amanda Connor, got some Scotty Young artwork here. They were doing the Secret Wars action figure variants. All right, so it doesn't have that Kamala Khan like second print variant or what have you. All right, guys, on to the Gwenpool Omnibus. So we already got the Spider-Gwen Omni, and here we have Gwenpool, and I just couldn't believe they had so much material on this character, enough to warrant a full omnibus. The character is interesting and unique, even though it's another Gwen Stacy clone. Let's flip through it. And yes, we do have a Gwenpool Omnibus. I feel like this is a variant cover for like the Deadpool Secret Wars. We'll have to double check that in the back here. Gwenpool on the spine and on the back. Collecting the unbelievable Gwenpool 1 through 25, Rocket Raccoon and Groot 8 through 10, Champions 5, Edge of the Venomverse 2, West Coast Avengers 1 through 10, Superior Spider-Man 7 and 8, Gwenpool Strikes Back 1 through 5. Plus, it's got material from Howard the Duck issues 1 through 3. That was that Chip Zdarsky run. Gwenpool Special 1, Holiday Special Merry Mix-Up, Secret Empire, Brave New World, Not Brand issue 14. And I think that's it. $125 cover price. We got the inside of the dust jacket. So Gwenpool breaking the fourth wall. If I recall, she is from an Earth like ours where there are comic books, but not like, superheroes in real life. So she understands she's a comic book character when she was transported into another universe. Here's the creators, and then here's the actual hardcover. It's actually like a very cute looking book. Actually, this is a wraparound cover. Something that my daughter would really be into, so I had to show it to her. She likes the Gwenpool stuff. Opening up to the pink cover page. Yeah, so it's definitely like a very girly omnibus. Here we have the creators. What is this? Table of contents. Opening up to Howard the Duck. Yeah, so that's where she first appeared, if I can recall this stuff. I actually read a lot of the material in this omnibus through one way or the other, because I read Superior Spider-Man. I did read some of the Gwenpool stuff. I was reading the Deadpool Secret Wars. So, yeah, just kind of like a fun thing. I mean, Edge of the Spider-Verse 2 kind of put Gwen Stacy on the map as Spider-Gwen, and then it just evolved into this whole universe of alternate Gwen Stacys. You got Gwenum, you got Gwenpool. There was a bunch of them, if I recall. So just a fun, lighthearted thing. Like I said, she knows that she's a comic book character in some other universe. Yeah, just kind of a fun, silly book. I can't believe they have that much material on Gwenpool to make a whole omnibus for her, but here we are. Yeah, and here's like some Gwenum stuff, right? Jumping to the back, so we have cover layouts. Got an afterword here by Christopher Hastings. Some variant covers. That looks like what? I thought it was Scotty Young. It's not. This was one of the Howard the Duck ones. It might be her first cover appearance. Something like that. Okay, so the Red Pool variant for the Unbelievable Gwenpool Zero action figure variant. Just like we saw with Captain Marvel. Here's the Scotty Young. Jane Foster Thor. Yeah, so this was all around that time. All right, and that's where they're going to end it. All right, y'all, and this was another one that I was on the fence about. The Knights of Pendragon, an Excalibur omnibus. I've never read it. I've never heard of it, but flipping through it, it does look interesting. The art style, well, you'll take a look at it. All right, so here we go. Alan Davis cover on the dust jacket, going to the spine, the Knights of the Pendragon. And then we have the back here. So collecting the 1990 volume, issues 1 through 18, then the 1992 volume, issues 1 through 15, Overkill 5, Miss Tech Wars 1 through 4, Dark Guard 1 through 4, and material from Marvel Comics Presents, issue 122. So, not familiar with any of those titles. Inside of the dust jacket, telling us a little bit about the run, giving us a biography on the creators, all black on the actual hardcover, not even a spine. It does have an image on the back though. And this was one of those omnis that I was gonna pass on. I was like, man, I don't know anything about the Knights of Pendragon. But then I'm like, man, it ties in with like Excalibur stuff. Dan Abnett is great. You have the creators here. Table of contents. Early 90s material from Marvel UK. And it has that very mature, kind of like DC Vertigo art style. I was flipping through it. It's something I'll need to check out. I'm not familiar with it whatsoever. Here we have Captain Britain. It looks like they have some good Spidey team-ups in this Omni as well. A little bit more towards the end here. But yeah, it has a very mature art style. Characters I'm not really familiar with. So it would be nice to jump into something new and check it out one day. Got some nice artwork here. Boom, full page. A nice double page spread here for this Mystic run. Now, it looks like I missed the Spidey team-ups. But we have some afterwards here by a few creators. Dan Abnett, Andy Lanning, who would go on later to work with Dan on Guardians of the Galaxy. Here we have some biography on these characters. Here we have some posters in the back too. Some character sketches. Yeah, so this is all brand new for me. All right, let's get into some familiar territory, man. Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 2. I have read the entire contents of this omnibus because I read Volume 1 and I read all the oversized hardcovers that completed it. Unbelievable that years and years later, they not only reprinted Volume 1, but they're continuing now with Volume 2. Let's take a look at it. All right, and here we have the cover for the Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 2. Take a look at the spine. Same type of logo from Volume 1. Brian Michael Bendis, Mark Bagley, and collecting issues 40 through 71, plus Ultimate 6 issues 1 through 7, with a $125 cover price and Virgin covers on the back. Interior of the dust jacket here, as usual, talking about the run, talking about the creators, and the actual hardcover artwork. Got that 2000s Mark Bagley stuff, Gwen Stacy stuff here. And opening up to the interior. So Ultimate Spider-Man, like I mentioned, I did a review on this entire run when I read this in oversized hardcovers. This was a way to kind of reboot Spider-Man for a more modern time, but they would make some tweaks and changes. to make it a little bit more updated. I think this is where they introduced the Kraven stuff as I was flipping through, and we end up getting into Venom and Carnage stuff. So they changed a lot of the origins and biographies, and then it would eventually lead into Miles Morales and then him taking over as the Ultimate Spider-Man towards the end of this run. Like I said, they were modernizing Spider-Man. Here we got Nick Fury, more of the modern version, issue 48. So they're doing like virgin covers here. Here goes Peter. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed this run. I think it's awesome to see us get a volume 2 because volume 1 came out years ago. Nobody expected them to continue this. But here we go, and it looks like we'll eventually get all of Ultimate Spider-Man collected in Omnibus, leading up into the Miles books. Here's Carnage, so they completely changed the whole symbiote stuff in here. So it's a nice twist, man. I think it's a good read. Been a while since I read it though, so I actually need a refresher on it myself. Got the Ultimates. Let's see what kind of bonuses we have here. All right, so trade paperback covers, some sketches, character designs. That's pretty much it for the bonuses. All right, guys, on to more Spider-Man. They are starting to collect the Nick Klein SpiderMan Saga. I think he went 100 issues or so, right? With a volume 1. This is the Kindred stuff leading up to where we are in modern Spider-Man comic books, and we'll talk about it during the overhead shots. All right, so here we go. Cover of the Dust Jacket, Nick Spencer, Ryan Ottley, and Humberto Ramos. We have a nice white spine here, volume 1. Taking a look at the back, The Coming of Kindred. All right, so $125 cover price, collecting Amazing Spider-Man 1 through 43, 16.HU, 18.HU, 19 and 20 as well. Amazing Spider-Man Full Circle and material from Free Comic Book Day 2018. Inside of the Dust Jacket, so where we're at with Peter Parker during this run, biography on the creators. Got a beautiful wraparound cover here, not mad at that. Interior pages, you got this nice red interior. Humberto Ramos artwork on this splash page. Here we have all the credits. Then we got the table of contents, the Free Comic Book Day material. So I read a couple of the first arcs here, and then I kind of gave up on it. I wasn't really feeling this whole Peter Parker roommate with Boomerang vibe, and I don't know. I just never got into it. I ended up getting back into this run later on in the series with the whole Sin Eater stuff, and I really did like that. And even into current comics, that arc matters, and the stuff that's going on with Norman Osborn as the Gold Goblin and this whole dark web thing. So that all starts here. This all was a big lead up to Kindred. I'm not going to give any spoilers on it, even though the run is a few years old. Some people probably read it for the first time in the omnibus format, but it was kind of a lot of lead up. They dragged it on to what, 100 issues or something. But I still appreciate the fact that we're getting it collected in omnibus format. I would love nothing more to have every Spider-Man comic in omnibus format, but it really wasn't my favorite run, to be honest. I think Spider-Man has been struggling, man, probably since Ultimate Spider-Man. Well, definitely since Superior Spider-Man. I feel like that was probably the last really good Spider-Man run that I've read for a while. But I like the creative team. I like the artist, Ryan Ottley, Humberto Ramos. But yeah, just really wasn't digging where they took Peter Parker here. So in the back, we have some variants, a lot of great variants. J. Scott Campbell here. Here's some more J. Scott. Got a connecting cover series. Mark Bagley. Yeah, so you're a ton of variants. Look at this. Keeps going. Looks like we have some original art here. Some page pencils. We got some scripts. And that's it. That Spider-Man booth is in open enrollment for their February subscription box. Not only will you get 5 comics at random with a retail value of $100, but you'll also get 2 exclusives limited to this box. Both of them are Ninja Funk 1 Second Prints, the Skrillex rookie card, and the Dip rookie card variant. These are limited to 100 copies each, 50 for the foils and 50 for the medals. Again, these are only available through THATSPIDERMANBOOTH.com via their subscription box. Check them out today. And the last one before we get into a couple of pre-releases, we have Volume 3 of Wolverine. I can't praise this book and these types of omnibus enough. The stuff that collects these entire longer runs. This was a run that I wanted to collect in single issues and complete it, and hopefully we'll get there in the omnibus format. All right, here we go. So the front of the dust jacket here, the Jim Lee one is probably the best cover. Here goes the spine, looks great. And then we have the back of the dust jacket, $125 cover price. It collects Wolverine issues 31 through 59, but it has Wolverine Bloody Choices. It has Reign of Terror, Ghost Rider / Wolverine / Punisher, Heart of Darkness. Collects X-Men from the 1991 series, issues 4 through 7. So what is that, Omega Red issue? Yep. And material from Marvel Fanfare, issues 54 through 55, plus Marvel Comics Presents 85 through 108, and that's it. Here we have the inside of the dust jacket, Wolverine in that yellow and blue, Larry Hama, Mark Silvestri. Here we have the actual hardcover. I don't know if I really like the comic book panel look. I mean, it's okay, but I feel like there's so much iconic Wolverine artwork. They probably could have went with some bigger pieces of art, right? So black interior cover page, again telling what Volume 3 collects. They kind of made it look like the old school one, so it matches with Volume 1 and 2, right? It doesn't have like the high graphic design look. But this is one of those omnibus that is the reason why I collect omnibus. Look at this, Wolverine 31. We're gonna get the entire Wolverine first solo ongoing series collected in omnibus format. Oversized pages, brand new, vibrant coloring. And I love that, man. I've read some of this material in here, especially as we get to the more 90s Wolverine stuff. Like, it has Wolverine 50, which is that whole secret file cover that's in every person's collection who collects Wolverine or who collects comic books. Dope artwork here. Love that Wolverine in the brown and yellow. But yeah, man, just the fact that we're not only getting the entire Wolverine ongoing, they're giving us all those miniseries in publication order in each one of these omnis. So it's like, man, one of my favorite omnibus runs. If I were to sell every omnibus, I would probably keep the Wolverine volumes 1 through 3. So here's some of those mini-series. The art style drastically changes up. Almost looks like it's from a different format even, right? More like a magazine format style. The Marvel Comics Presents is the Sam Keith stuff that we'll get to here in a moment. But right now, just looking at all the Mark Silvestri stuff. Love that. This is like my era of comics growing up as a kid. Here it is, that Wolverine 50 that literally everybody had in their collection. And so we're double dipping a little bit with the X-Men title stuff. Psylocke action looks great. Jim Lee. Here's the Sam Keith stuff. What a nice variety of Wolverine issues. And then looking at all 3 of the omnibus, I mean, it's the ultimate Wolverine collection, easily. Got the Mojo Wolverine 53. Man, we might need to do a Wolverine read-through, man. All right, so John Romita Jr. Marvel Age cover on the back featuring Wolverine, amongst others. Got a John Romita Jr. interview. Ghost Rider, Punisher. Yeah, these were the cult classics right there. All right, so we got some artwork on the back. Jim Starlin doing Wolvie. Mike Zeck. Wolverine and Cable by Mike Mignola. Eric Larson's Wizard cover. Gotta have the trading cards on the back by Jim Lee and Paul Mounts, of course. Jim Lee for Wizard, which was an unused cover. Wow, that's great. Oh yeah, these are the second printings. And there we go. All right, y'all, and then we have 2 early releases. These books both come out on March 28th. Big thank you to Marvel Comics for sending us the early look. Let's take a look at them, because this, just like Wolverine, we're starting to collect another entire run. Mark Spector Moon Knight Volume 1. All right, guys, so this is the Mark Spector Moon Knight. This is the regular cover. The DM variant is the Carl Potts cover. But this is another one of those, kind of like Wolverine, where we're just getting the entire volume of these characters with these essential runs. So we've already had the Moon Knight Origins Omnibus, we have the Hudson stuff, so this would fall in between there, collecting Mark Spector Moon Knight issues 1 through 34. It also has Amazing Spider-Man 353 through 358, Moon Knight Divided We Fall, and material from Punisher Annual Issue 2 with a $125 cover price. We get a biography on the creators here: Chuck Dixon, Al Milgrom, Mark Bagley, Ron Garney, Sal Velluto, and a biography on this run for Moon Knight. Hardcover itself basically only has this moon and the spine, nothing on the back. Opening up to some black cover pages, table of contents with the credits, and then just like with Wolverine, you're just opening up with a cover of the issue, and then we're getting this entire run, which to me is just amazing. Now, I have not read this material, but I'm super interested in reading it. I read a couple of those Moon Knight Omnibus and did reviews on the channel. Here we got the Bushman here with Moon Knight. Man, this is just my preferred style. Boom, you just get the cover as it was on the actual comic book, and then boom, jumping right into it. Moon Knight and Black Cat. Interested to see where this run took Moon Knight, because with his alter egos, there's so many places you could take him, like the difference between the Hudson run and the Jeff Lemire run, or even with the origin stuff. So many places you can go. Spider-Man with Moon Knight. I like the fact that it feels more superhero-y already here, right? You have Moon Knight more as a costume vigilante, working with other heroes like Spider-Man and anti-heroes like Punisher. With Ghost Rider, huge full-page spread here. Looks awesome. Doing the penance stare. This stuff looks great, man. I definitely need to jump into this. This might be a more recent read and review just because I'm interested in the material. New Warriors stuff here. Yeah, with Nova. All right, let's see what else do we get in this Omni. Yeah, I forgot. This actually had some damage from the printer. We even had to cut it and trim it. You ever see that where it had like extra paper that it wasn't supposed to have? Here we got the trading card on the back. Original covers here. And this is scheduled to come out on March 28th. And the last one, guys, this one was inevitable. The Nova Omnibus, collecting all of the original Richard Rider run, including his first appearance. I have a funny story about this one. Let's take a look at the overhead shots and get into it. All right, so the regular cover for issue 1, except they added Richard Rider here. This comes out on March 28th as well. They also have a DM variant, which is kind of like a more modernized picture of this by Pollard. Move into the spine. You have the Nova logo on the spine. You got the creators there, Marv Wolfman, John Buscema, Sal Buscema. And you're getting Nova issue 1 through 25, Amazing Spider-Man 171, Defender 62 through 64, Marvel 2-in-1 91, Marvel 2-in-1 Annual issue 3, Fantastic Four 204 through 206, but you also have 208 through 214, Fantastic Four Annual 12, Thing 34, and What If 36. Just $100 cover price though. Here we have the interior of the dust jacket here. We're talking about Nova, we're talking about John Byrne and Carmine Infantino, in addition to the other creators that I mentioned. And it has a colorful wraparound cover, even though it's older material. So that's usually reserved for the newer Omnis, but they included it here. That royal blue interior. Here we have Nova, Richard Rider. The credits once again. Table of contents. And then boom, jumping into number 1. So, you know, I had a custom bound omnibus of this material, and I didn't want to go down the rabbit hole of now trying to get every custom Omni. So that was a good sell for me, because here we have basically the same thing, but probably with a little bit more material. But always like to have that full self-contained run, just like the Wolverine and the Moon Knight Omnis that we looked at. This is one of those omnibus that's essential on the shelf, because it just collects all that material back to back with the important stuff in between. Kudos to Marvel for cranking out the Nova Omnibus. For every Gwenpool Omni, we get a Nova Omni, right? So very cool to see them collect all this material. First appearance of Nova and his entire first run. So let's see what's in the back while he's fighting Galactus here. All right, looks like we have some sketch covers here, some cover art, official handbook of the Marvel Universe biographies on the players involved here. Got the original covers and some interiors, some trade paperback covers and such. Fantastic Four stuff, and there we go. And that was the haul, man. What a huge haul. It might have been one of my biggest ones. A lot of keeper omnibus stuff that if I decided to downsize thoroughly, I would still keep them because they just collect those full entire runs that I would never want to hunt down issue by issue. Let me know which of these you're looking forward to the most in the comments down below. Appreciate you watching. Stay minty fresh. And again, if you're looking to pick any of these up, organicpricedbooks.com and use code GemMint to save $2 at checkout. Peace.